We have this idea of monsters, right? Things that hunt in the shadows, beasts that stalk the edges of civilization. But there's another kind of monster entirely, one that doesn't hide in the dark, but actually walks among us, in the brightest ballrooms, at the most exclusive parties, a monster that wears a handsome face, speaks with a silver tongue, and whose greatest weapon is our own trust.
So when I say vampire, what pops into your head? Probably someone like Dracula, right? Or maybe Lestat, or even one of the modern ones. They all share that same kind of DNA. They're charming, they're aristocratic, and they are absolutely deadly. But the blueprint for this monster, the original design, it wasn't dreamed up in some Transylvanian castle. No, it was forged much, much earlier.
And here's the crazy part. The entire archetype of the modern vampire, this sophisticated, captivating creature of the night, it was born from a simple dare, a ghost story competition between some of the most brilliant and frankly troubled minds of their generation.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. It's 1816. It's later called the Year Without a Summer because a volcanic eruption has literally darkened the skies over Europe. It's gloomy, it's cold, and at the Villa Diodati in Geneva, you've got this group of English literary rock stars, Lord Byron, Percy Bysshe Shelley, Mary Godwin, and Byron's personal physician, a guy named John Polidori. They're all trapped indoors by non-stop rain, and to pass the time, they start reading German ghost stories. And then, Byron gets an idea. He issues a challenge. And that's it. That's the moment. From this one simple proposal, two of the most enduring monsters in all of literature are about to be born. Mary Godwin, who's about to become Mary Shelley, she gets the spark of an idea that will become her masterpiece, Frankenstein. And the quiet physician, John Polidori, who's kind of living in the shadow of the larger-than-life Lord Byron, well, he takes a little story fragment that Byron himself started and then got bored with, and he turns it into something brand new. So what did Polidori create? He created a monster named Lord Ruthven. Now this was not some rotting ghoul clawing its way out of a grave in a peasant village. Oh no. Lord Ruthven was a nobleman. He was a fixture in London's high society. He was the kind of monster you'd invite into your home for dinner, the one you would happily introduce to your daughter. He was, in short, the predator hidden in plain sight.
And you have to understand, this contrast is the whole game changer. Before Polidori, vampires in folklore were pretty much mindless, bloated corpses. They'd rise from the grave to plague their own families and villages. They were creatures of pure, brutish horror. Polidori's genius was to give that monster a clean suit and an invitation to the party. He took that shambling corpse and turned it into a cold, calculating aristocrat. He transformed the mindless beast into a predator who uses society's own rules as his personal hunting ground.
I mean, the way Polidori describes Ruthven is just... it's bone-chilling. He isn't ugly or obviously monstrous. He's handsome, but there's something deeply unsettling about him. This quote just nails it. His gaze doesn't connect with you. It weighs on you. It's this leaden ray that sees you not as a person, but as a thing, as an object, as prey. He's the kind of guy who walks into a room and all the laughter just stops.
And his cruelty, wow, it is so specific. He doesn't just feed on people, he destroys them from the inside out. He'll give money to a gambler just to make sure the man ends up ruined. But his real passion, his true hunt, is for innocence. He has zero interest in women who are already considered fallen by society's standards. No, his entire purpose is to find a woman of perfect, unsullied virtue and just annihilate her soul and her reputation. For him, it's not about the blood, it's about the corruption.
So our way into this story is through this young, naive gentleman named Aubrey. He's completely fascinated by Lord Ruthven at first and agrees to travel across Europe with him. But after he gets a glimpse of Ruthven's true depravity, he gets spooked and leaves him, continuing his travels alone to Greece. And it's there, surrounded by ancient ruins, that he finds what he believes is perfect, pure innocence in a young Greek woman named Ianthe. And Ianthe, in her total innocence, starts telling Aubrey about all the local legends. She tells him about the vampire, this creature that has to feed on a beautiful young woman every year to keep its unnatural life going. She's so earnest, warning him about these monsters that old folks in the village swear they've seen living among them. And right here, this is that moment, the one where the dread really starts to creep in. Because as Ianthe is describing this folkloric monster, the pale skin, the unsettling gaze, that dead gray eye, Aubrey is hit by this wave of horror. He realizes she is perfectly describing the man he just ran away from. The ancient superstition and the modern gentleman, they're one and the same.
Of course, Aubrey doesn't really listen to the warnings. He gets caught out in a storm, and then he hears a woman's screams coming from a small hut. He rushes in, gets attacked by this figure with insane strength who manages to escape into the night. When help finally arrives, they bring in a body they found. It's Ianthe, and on her throat are the unmistakable marks. The villagers, they know exactly what this is. The folklore is real, and it has just destroyed the purest thing Aubrey had ever known.
You think it can't get any worse? Oh, it gets so much worse. After Ianthe's murder, a totally traumatized Aubrey continues his travels, only to run into, you guessed it, Lord Ruthven again. They end up traveling together until they're attacked by bandits, and Ruthven is shot. He's mortally wounded. But for a creature like this, death isn't an ending. It's just an opportunity. So as he's lying there, supposedly dying, Ruthven pulls Aubrey close and makes him swear this terrible oath. For a year and a day, notice that specific folkloric time frame. For a year and a day, he has to be totally silent. He can't tell anyone about Ruthven's crimes or even that he died. And Aubrey, feeling this weird sense of duty to his dying companion, he swears the oath. And Ruthven dies laughing.
So, Aubrey follows Ruthven's last bizarre request. He has the body carried to a mountain peak so it can be bathed in the light of the moon, and when Aubrey comes back, it's gone. Completely vanished. This wasn't a normal death. It was some kind of supernatural ritual. The monster has just shed its skin and is about to come back stronger.
And just in case there was any tiny sliver of doubt left in Aubrey's mind, he later finds something among Ruthven's possessions. A scabbard. He's been carrying this strange dagger he found in the hut where Ianthe was murdered. On a whim, he tries it, and the dagger fits the sheath perfectly. It's the final, damning proof. Lord Ruthven was her killer, and now he's somewhere.
So poor Aubrey returns to London. He's a complete wreck, just haunted by everything he's seen. He tries to re-enter society to protect his beloved sister who is his whole world. And then one night, in the middle of a crowded party, he feels a hand on his arm and hears a voice whisper in his ear. It's Ruthven, alive, looking healthier than ever, and holding him to that promise of silence with a single, terrifying phrase.
What happens next is just Aubrey's complete and total psychological collapse. He has to watch this murderer move through his world, charming everyone, winning them over, and he is utterly powerless to stop him. He's bound by his oath, and when Ruthven starts courting Aubrey's innocent sister, Aubrey's frantic attempts to warn everyone just make them think he's gone insane. He's trapped.
It all comes to a head on the wedding day, the very day his oath is set to expire at midnight. Aubrey makes one last desperate attempt to stop it all. But Ruthven corners him and delivers this final, sadistic checkmate. He tells him that even if the marriage doesn't happen, he's already made sure the sister's dishonor is complete, trapping her. He uses not just the oath, but the incredibly rigid social rules of the time as a weapon.
And that's it for Aubrey. The rage, the helplessness, it causes him to have a stroke. He bursts a blood vessel. Just after midnight, with his very last breaths, he finally manages to tell his guardians everything. They rush to save his sister, but they're too late. The story ends right there, on that absolutely horrifying note. The monster won. Virtue is dead, innocence is destroyed, and evil has just moved on.
So this is the template. This is what Polidori created that night. Every single element of the modern vampire is right here. You've got the high-class predator, using his status as the perfect camouflage. You've got the seductive manipulator, whose main goal is corrupting innocence. You have the supernatural power to cheat death itself. And maybe most importantly, you've got the psychological warfare. That oath that paralyzes Aubrey is just as deadly as any fang. This is the blueprint from which Dracula and all the rest would be built. So from one stormy night, from one ghost story competition, came a monster that wasn't a beast from the wilderness, but a dark reflection of society itself. Polidori's story suggests that the most dangerous predator isn't the one with claws and fangs, but the one with a title, a fortune, and a winning smile. And it leaves us with a question that is, I think, just as terrifying today as it was back in 1819.